Hello everyone and welcome to the program Talk Sport on Global Television. I am Samuel Odi. Many thanks for joining on today's edition of the program. Yesterday's edition I started off being very much upset based on the scoreline and how the Super Eagles played. But this time around you can see smiles on my face because the Tigers made us smile last night. And also PSG and Tottenham Hotspur traded serious tackle, and at some point it looked as if Tottenham Hotspur were going to be victorious for the night, but still they finally lost out after PSG came from behind to settle for a 2-2 draw, and then they played out in the penalty shootout where PSG emerged victorious and by scoring 4 penalty shootouts, and also Tottenham Hotspur settling for 3. So we'll be having all of those conversations, and you all know that Global Television and Talk Sports are big fans of grassroots sports development, and we have the champs in the live studios with us today of Abuja Kids Soccer League, as a few of the representatives will be having conversations with us in the second half of today's Talk Sport edition. Like always, we'll be starting from the home front, and we'll try as much as possible to move with the speed of light, as time is not going to be much of our friend because we have so much to talk about today. We have football to talk about, we have basketball, we have cricket and athletic. Also we have some conversations coming around from the VAR where they are saying that VAR now will be looking into yellow cards and red card offenses. That's when the referees are set to award them. So we'll have all of those conversations today. Moving on, let's start from the home front as always. Cricket is what we're starting from today, as Oyede eyes big chance to reach World Cup later this year. Ahead of the head coach of Nigerian senior women's cricket team, Leke Oyede, is confident that the female yellow and greens have a big chance of advancing to the global qualifiers of the 2026 ICC Women's T20 World Cup later on in 2026. The female yellow and greens are intensifying their preparation as a close camp in Lagos ahead of the African qualifiers, which will take place in Namibia from August the 28th to September the 7th. Leke Oyede's team began training last month in Benin City, Edo State, with 22 players before the coach dropped 4 players ahead of the final lap in Lagos. The final list is expected to be released next week, and the coach is optimistic that the players are in great shape to deliver. The top 2 teams from African qualifiers will advance to the global qualifiers, which will be played later in the year. The 2026 Women's T20 World Cup will be played in England, and the yellow and greens are doing everything possible to be able to find themselves play at that grand stage. So we'll see how all of this happens, and hopefully during the selection process that Oyede would be able to signify and also single out the best out of the best, because for you to make it to the camp of 22 and then later on being dropped down to 18, that means you're doing something right. So hopefully for the final list, hopefully Oyede will be able to single out the best of the best players who would go and represent Nigeria in the qualifying games in Namibia, and also advance to England for the world for the grand stage in the world competition. So moving on, let's talk another Davis Cup, which Nigeria ends comeback win against Algeria. Nigeria opened their Davis Cup campaign Group 3 qualifiers campaign in Harare, Zimbabwe on a winning note, relaying from behind to edge Algeria 2-1 in the first match of the tournament. This happened yesterday. Nigerian side did not begin well, as Michael Emmanuel lost first singles rubber 6-1 and 6-0 against the Algerian Tofik Shantil, as the North African lead 1-0. US-based Nigerian tennis star Christopher Bulus began the comeback when he took on Samir Hamza in the second single rubber between the countries. Bulus edged the first set 7-6 via a tiebreaker before going on to lose the second set 4-6 to his stubborn opponent, having managed to come from 4-1 down. However, in the deciding set, he cruised to a 6-4 triumph to level the score at 1-1. That's talking about the resilient power or spirit of a Nigerian man. In the doubles rubber, the duo of Daniel Adeleye and Bulus began the tie by racing into the commanding 3-1 lead on their way to clinching the 6-4. The Algerians, led by Chantel and Hamza, recovered in the second set and put up a dogged display as they won 7-6 on a tiebreaker. The final set saw the West Africans break the Algerians to take a comfortable 4-2 lead, and they had their next serve to extend the lead to 5-2. Chantel and Hamza soon made it 5-3 before the Nigerian duo sealed the set and the contest, which ended 6-3. The two action will continue today as Davis Cup's African Group 3 qualifying tournament as Nigeria resume the chase to secure promotion to the World Group 2 playoffs that would be coming up again later this year. There's a whole lot of action still packed for later in the year. So moving on, still talking athletics, let's talk NCC final. According to Ajayi said, NCC final, my biggest athletic miss. You all remember I brought it up to your notice that Nigerian sprinter and former men's 100 meters national champion Kinsola Ajayi has described his 4th place finish at this year's NCAA Outdoor Championship as the biggest disappointment of his boarding athletic career. Ajayi finished 4th in octagon with a time of 10.13 seconds after producing the fastest time in the semis. Ajayi had commanded attention after a blustering semi-final performance where he ran a new personal best of 9.92 seconds, the fastest time of the round, breaking Abure's school record and becoming joint 4th fastest Nigerian man over the distance alongside Shegun Okonya and Udodi Uwazurike. So looking at this now, he couldn't continue the trajectory of how he performed in Nigeria. I don't know what really happened, but still, he finished top 4. His goal was to make it to the podium, but he still has Tokyo, which will be the championship games that will be happening in Tokyo come in the month of September for him to be able to correct that. So we'll see how all of that pans out and how he would get himself prepared ahead of other competitions that will be coming up later in the month of September. We still have Diamond League qualifiers where Toby Amonso and co are still struggling to make sure they get into the final stages. So moving on, let's talk football quickly. Looking at CHAN, obviously it looks as if Nigeria does not have a home-based team anymore because of the results we're seeing, losing 1-0 to Senegal and then losing 4-0 to Sudan. Now, this is coming from angry Nigerian football fans as Chile is under fire after Sudan rout. Angry Nigerian football fans have intensified calls for the immediate dismissal of Super Eagles coach Eric Chell following the team's humiliating 4-0 defeat to Sudan that ended their African Nations Championship campaign with a game to spare. The comprehensive loss in Zanzibar on Tuesday night had sparked widespread outrage on social media, with supporters questioning Chile's tactical approach and team selection decision that saw Nigeria crash out of the tournament without scoring a single goal in 2 matches. The defeat marked a new low for Nigerian football, with the Super Eagles B team managing just 2 shots on target across both group matches while conceding 5 goals. Sudan's emphatic victory saw them climb to the top of the Group D, whereas Nigerian players left the pitch with heads bowed after another woeful display. Talking about this same man, now, this is just so disheartening to even talk about because I'm even still pissed from that scoreline, because you played 2 matches, now you still have 1 game in hand, but there is no need even playing it because you've lost already. The goal line is showing on the table now, 0 points, 0 goals, and minus 5 goals. So there is no miracle that can happen for Nigeria to even qualify. So still talking about CHAN now, this is coming from the head coach of the Sudanese guys. Can you guys imagine what this man said? He said the Eagles needs a better coach. He has a standpoint, obviously, for what he's saying. Sudanese coach Kwasi Appiah has attributed Nigerians 4-0 defeat in the African Nations Championship to inadequate coaching, insisting the Super Eagles B possesses quality players but lack tactical reinforcement. And then the former Ghanaian international highlighted Nigerians' moments of control in the tournament, but stressed that better preparation could have altered the outcome. He says the Nigerian team is not bad, they just need better coaching. I wasn't expecting the scoreline. I knew we could beat Nigeria, but not 4-0. Of course, Appiah said after leading his team to the commanding win in Zanzibar, the coach only needs to do some polishing in the attack. The first game against Senegal wasn't that bad. In the second, now they had sense of position, he added. Sudan dominated the match from start to finish, demonstrating a tactical plan that absorbed earlier pressure before striking efficiently on the counter attack. Appiah admitted that the scoreline still surprises him. Not only you, my brother, it still surprises me because I wasn't even expecting the scoreline. Even if you are going to lose to Sudan, not 4-0. Come on now. Not 4-0. That's too much. That's just way too much. And things need to be done fast. Nigerians obviously don't even have time to even start, painting walls this time around. They are calling for him to be fired. Now, what does this mean? Is it that the players are not good, or the coach himself is not good, or the selection process was the problem? We need to know what the problem really is. If the home-based players are not hungry enough for success and to, carry on with the trajectory that we've been witnessing from the ladies for the past three weeks of the Super Falcons completing Mission X, and then the Tigress winning their 5th consecutive title in the Afro basketball, then if they can't continue that, but at least they should give us something to smile about. But today, now let me even talk about something that is putting a smile on my face, and you all know I like money. NBA OK is now moving on. Let's talk basketball quickly. As NBA OK's 6.1 billion sale of Boston Celtics. This was confirmed yesterday that the NBA on Wednesday approved the sale of Boston Celtics to an investment group led by Bill Chislom. 5 months after the deal worth a turned record of $6.1 billion was agreed. The NBA Board of Governors has unanimously approved the sale of the controlling interest in the Boston Celtics to an investor group led by Bill Chislom. The league said this in a brief statement. The transaction is expected to close shortly. Chislom is managing director and co-founder of Synopsys Technology Group when he and his co-investors agreed to purchase the storied Celtic franchise at the initial value of $6.1 billion. That was the highest ever offered for North American sports team. It has since then been surpassed by the $10 billion sale in June of Los Angeles Lakers by Bruce family to billionaire Mark Walter. When the Celtics sale was announced, it was stated that Greens would continue his role as Chief Executive Officer and Governor overseeing team operations through the 2027 and 2028 season. So looking at all of this now, this team is about to be traded, and we'll see how all of that turns out in the next couple of weeks. So still moving on and talking basketball, the Tigers triumphed over Madagascar 77-59 in the Afro basketball opener. This is something now to smile about. Nigerians senior men's team, the Tigers, began their quest to claim a second continental title with a comprehensive win as they defeated Madagascar 77-59 in their opening Group B feature at the 2025 FIBA Afro Basketball Championship in Angola. Both teams were facing each other for only the second time in FIBA Afro Basketball history, with the previous clash having ended 112-81 in favor of the West African during the 2011 edition. That's in the favor of Nigeria. Coach Mohammed Abdulrahman led side came into the contest at the with high momentum, and the dominance they had began brightly as the first quarter ended 18-14. Madagascar launched a fight back in the second quarter, which finished 23-20 in their favor, with Tigers holding the slim advantage at the halftime. Our score remains 38-37 upon resumption of the third quarter. The 2015 champs began their flex to flex their superiority, running away from the advantage 19-17-9 and finishing the job in the fourth quarter, which ended 23-13. So just in case you missed the match due to time and all of that, I'm going to bring you highlights quickly of the game between the Tigers and Madagascar. So here are the highlights just in case you